Now that it's warm enough for hiking and biking, feeling energized is even more important. I take C60 Evo olive oil in the morning and get amazing results all day long. It improves my mental focus and clarity to complete projects and helps me sleep better at night. C60 Evo works. They sell 3 potent edible oils that are delicious: olive oil, avocado, and MCT coconut. They also make exceptional longevity serums for both men and women. The new C60 Evo hair renewal is getting great reviews. Everything is made in their US Patriot lab and they ship all over the world. Treat yourself, your pets, and those you love to healthy products that really improve your life. Use our code INSPIREDCHANNEL to get 10% off at checkout. Hey, Inspired Tribe, my fellow freedom lovers, John Nolan here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, and hitting the notifications button so you'll get notified about new videos every day. Thank you also for joining us on Locals and in the Inspired Newsroom, our news channel here on YouTube. All right, let's dive into it. Before we go into what I would like to share with you today, I'd like to watch a clip with you together so we can kind of get on the same page on this.
Y'all really want to try to say there aren't trans kids? Let me tell you what there aren't. There aren't cis kids. Okay, you telling your child, oh, you're a boy, you're a girl. This is a child. This is a free spirit that has not learned any of that bullshit until you force it on them. So cisness is the wound. Cisness is the delusion. Cisness is the lie. Cisness is the place of pain. Transness is the healing. Transness is the growth. Transness is the truth. Transness is what we actually are. We are fluid. We are 70% water. We are God. God is change. God is trans. We are trans. You are forcing your kids to be boys and girls. We're saying, be whatever you are, baby. Be free, be water, be light, be sky, be God, because guess what? That's what we actually are. What we actually are is trans, is change, is love. We're not the ones doing the forcing. And see God chiming just on time.
Okay, so I wanted to play this clip with you by, I think the guy's called Kevin whatever Kevin on TikTok. And it would be easy to emotionalize this. It would be easy to jump on it. It would be easy to dissect it in all of its details and just portray the outlandishness of this video, of this clip, and of the claims made. But I think we have to honestly go many steps deeper right now, because this, in its current expression, is the stepping stone to the existential threat that we're being faced with as the human species. And this is what I've been saying so often. But I want to first address a little bit of what we have just watched. I would really hope that this guy is getting help, real help, not cynically speaking, but real help. Because what he's saying is involving children, involving the most innocent, and giving them responsibilities and giving them choices and giving them freedom they cannot possibly work with. And there's a reason for that. We have strayed so far away from nature and what is natural and created so many artificial fields that people actually believe this, what this guy is saying here. They actually think this is the truth. When in truth, there is a natural system that's been in place for eons. We have no possibility of calculating just how long it's been in place. And this natural system works in a very specific way. There are mechanisms to it. There is biology to it. There are fundamental principles to it that make it last or make it go away. Humanity is on the way out right now, and this is deliberate. The transgender hysteria is deliberate. Most of these people aren't what would be called transgender. Most of these people aren't real two spirits that were born with two spirits like it's been seen in native communities for eons. They're not that. They are victims of multi-generational spiritual and mental illness that has never been healed, and so it expresses itself in that particular way. And now, versus before, when it was looked upon as, okay, this person most likely needs help, and if they want help, then they can receive help, that would have been the proper way to look at this. Now, all of this, the now 70-something genders, and the forcing on children, the extreme sexualization of anything goes, is now being legitimized because governments, corporations, entertainment, everybody is pooling around the idea that anything goes and anything is okay and anything is normal. And that's why these views and these ideas are being so normalized and pushed on people. And there is a vast majority of the population that feels this, knows this on a deeper level, and understands there's something incredibly wrong with all of this. It is completely unnatural, first off, and it only exists in artificial systems. The way it expresses itself here does not exist in a natural realm, in the natural systems. Among nature-oriented cultures that see themselves as a part of nature, not apart from nature, there are always cultural expressions, there are art expressions. All of this happens, but it all happens within the confines of what is natural and what will sustain the community and what will actually allow it to thrive. Because all of these reproductive methods that they're now also talking about are not natural and will not function outside of the artificial system. A society cannot be based relying on artificial structures. This is the whole problem we're facing as a society right now. We are relying on artificial structures, and that is the demise of the population. Humanity needs to base its most fundamental needs on nature and nature alone. It's the only way how we will survive as a species and how we will eventually thrive again. And this does not mean by any stretch of the imagination that there should be violence against these people at all. Not at all. This is the completely wrong way. But we also need to draw lines in the sand and protect the generation, not just from potential physical abuse, not just from the mutilation, not just from the amputations and gender affirming care, which now turns into sex changes at a very young age. Not just that, the protection needs to be of the mind and the spirit, that they're not exposed in their formative years to the idea that this is natural and that this is normal moving forward. It simply cannot be the way. The young mind, 0 to 7, is extremely impressionable. It does not have a filtration system. It looks at things. It will take from trusted sources anything as truth. It will accept anything as truth because it is in a different state and does not have yet a filtration system. It is in a much deeper consciousness state. And that's what the mind then absorbs, and it saves it in its subconscious as the truth, right? And that's why the formative years are so important, and people have been trained over decades now, in some places even centuries, to leave those formative years and the programming of the child's mind to strangers. They sent them to daycare to earn a wage and are wondering why their children eventually turn out to be complete strangers to them. We have this extreme situation now because for too long we have not paid attention to what is natural. For too long we've not paid attention to healing, and we haven't been truthful with ourselves. And this is where we stand now. The continuation of violence or the exclusion of these communities that are emerging, that are appearing to be bigger actually than they are, is the wrong way moving forward. But accepting this as the norm, as healthy, as natural, is also wrong. Healing is really the place where we need to start. And when I talk about healing, it isn't just physical, it is mainly spiritual, psychological, mental, emotional healing. And we have created a traumatic society, a society that is based on violence and trauma. That's the kind of capitalism that we have created in this world collectively, or allowed it to happen. And we're now suffering the consequences. So healing is the first stage, because when we become whole again, we will not continue to participate in structures that violate us and violate our children. So how does that healing, what does it look like? One of the most trusted processes that we know of and that we recommend you look into is called The Journey. Go to thejourney.com, and we're not affiliated with Brandon Bays in The Journey, but this process has helped so many go into deep trauma healing and actually resolve the underlying issues. And that's what then, it trickles up actually in consciousness, not down. It trickles up to all layers of consciousness and facilitates a chain of healing. People might have to do multiple of these processes over time, but what will happen is that as we make ourselves, and this is just one modality, there are many others by the way, but as we will make ourselves whole again, and as we do heal ourselves, we begin living differently. We begin living more naturally. We begin living more true to real authentic self. Pointing one more time at this video, this is a classic example of a mashup of different streams of belief systems, of extreme new age, of no moral lines in the sand, of no set fundamental principles without which no society can exist, but not even a family can exist with that. And so we are seeing what we've talked about on this channel so often, the split. It is a real split. And the one stream will be so violent, so dystopian, so crazy, that anyone who still has a connection to spirit and to heart will not be able to exist there. They will die from sheer sadness and depression on this artificial path that right now mainstream society is on. Mainstream society is on that path. It is so crazy, and what is yet to come in the trans and post-humanist streams and agendas, which all big tech is driving, is absolutely unimaginable. On the other hand, and this is a very binary choice, by the way, for those who feel non-binary is a thing, it's a very binary choice. On the other hand, there is a natural timeline or paradigm, and on that natural timeline, we will move away, I believe, quite quickly from anything that is extremely technological and artificial. We're moving back to nature. We're moving back to health. We're moving back to sanity. We're moving back to wholeness. We're moving back to spirit. And when I say back, I really mean back, because ultimately this is how we were created to be. And day by day, we will release more of the artificial structure. And as we heal on that path, right? So the one path is the path of extreme sickness. It was sickness of the spirit, of the mind, of the soul. The other path is the path of healing. And on that path, with every layer that we heal, the necessities and addictions will fall away one by one by one. It is a process. We will have to work at it. We'll have to put some effort into it, and we will have to change, or we are actually changing our lifestyles fundamentally, because it is a return to the natural cycle. And you have to make that choice, because very soon, in most places in the world, the choice will be one or the other. There will be no way to have one foot on each path. You will have to choose, and that choice right now, I believe, is already here. Some people are just not seeing it, and that means we are fundamentally changing our lives and the outlook for the future generations, because our future generations, the way I see it now, will not even have access to that dystopian society for quite some time to come. Which one will be considered the norm or the majority, we will see. I frankly don't care. I surely hope the natural timeline will be the majority, but it does not really play a role in my decision making. All I can tell you is that the extreme language and even violence and all of what you're seeing in this video and other videos and other things that are happening will continue, because they're right now being encouraged and endorsed and supported by the highest level of authorities, at least that which people still perceive to be authorities, right? That's why you did have, very shortly after the Nashville school shooting here, where, according to the official story, a transgender person walked into the Christian school here in Green Hills, not far from here, it's really just 25 minutes, and shot 3 children and 3 adults. And very soon after, the White House press secretary came out and said trans kids will continue to fight, and they're in full support of trans kids and all of that. And which was basically a very sinister statement to make that close to a shooting that was obviously connected to the transgender community. Very insensitive, and it also clearly shows where the values are going in that system. So if we can de-emotionalize this conversation and actually look to common sense, biology, what we know to be right, fundamental, real spirituality, then we will take the violence and the fight out of this conversation and clearly define a path forward. And that's exactly what we need to do for ourselves individually, for our small communities, for our clans and tribes, whatever you want to call it, and for our children most of all. Because the children that right now are exposed to all of this social media madness, that have unrestricted access, that view this as truth, these children are extremely likely to be absolutely addicted to the dystopian path and never experience nature, freedom, love, harmony, unity, discipline, inner discipline, and a natural reaction of, if I put in work, if I show up, visible results will follow versus instant gratification artificially induced. So I trust that we will continue to have this conversation more and more often, go into the depths of it, and really make clear what the path is and where the split is so we can make a conscious decision. All right, thank you so much for tuning in. We love you. We appreciate you. We'll be back with you again very, very soon. Would you like to get access to exclusive content as well as being part of a community of like-minded people posting, sharing, and connecting on a deeper level? Come join the Inspired community on Locals, where we share more intimately and privately and do our Coffee and Truth live streams as well as our Honey Talks show, the only Inspired show with Kristin Nolan. The Inspired community is absolutely uncensored and unfiltered, a place for truth, authenticity, and freedom. Join us now at inspired.locals.com or click on a link in the video description.